and welcome to Back Issues of Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
New camera, new problems. Let's see how this goes. I don't know why we're doing this one. This is more like, so this is what the show is going to be like from now on. I mean, we did all the crises.
Right.
What
so
are we
it's
going to
like
do now?
now? Just weird
Now it's
stuff
just random
that Sal
stories.
thinks
Yeah,
of.
I mean, like, look, there are still plenty of seminal stories and also books like this. Wolverine: The Jungle Adventure.
What? What?
It's called The Jungle Adventure.
Yep.
Whoa, and they have a Frazetta button there.
Yeah, they do. This is, of course, written by Walt Simonson with art by Mike Mignola of Hellboy fame and Walt Simonson of Beta Ray Bill fame and everything else. But yes, this is absolutely an homage in every respect to Frazetta.
Why would he ever draw Wolverine? He's not the most majestic creature
No,
known
that's
to
true.
man.
Well, remember, Walt Simonson wrote it, so he didn't put any horses in the story because he wasn't going to draw them. He's like, I'll take the heat from Mignola, because I mean, it's a bitch to draw a horse. Horses are hard to draw. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's like it's
I've
one of the
been told,
it's
yeah.
one of the many
Horses
requests.
and motorcycles.
Horses, bicycles.
Bicycles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cars. They're like, please don't. There's an exercise where it's like draw a bicycle from memory, and I was like, I've seen 1,000 bicycles in my life, ridden one 1,000,000 times. Oh, I have no idea what they look like.
Oh God.
Triangles and circles? Oh no. They're like,
How is
yeah.
it that everything I draw that I think is correct looks wrong to me?
Yeah, I know it's wrong. Where does the gear go? Oh no, nowhere.
Where are the pedals? How does the seat attach?
Oh crap. And it's
Uh,
such a simple design. You know, it's bafflingly
Apparently not.
simple.
no, the wheel is simple.
No. You might say it's the most. This book came out in 1990. It came out like this. This is the book that came out at the time.
Oh, yeah, so it wasn't issues. It was just like, here you go.
Here's the Jungle Adventure. Whole Jungle Adventure for only $5. Enjoy. No Comics Code Authority, so we could enjoy some mild, partial, implied nudity. All right.
And I assume hardcore violence?
Of course.
Wolverine
But even
stabbing
then,
people?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wolverine stabs a ton of people. Or actually,
Blood?
No.
Red
People,
blood?
Red blood.
Or
yeah.
things.
Wolverine stabs. Let's put it that way.
He better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a Wolverine book.
What else is he gonna
If
do?
he doesn't, you failed.
Is this like in the, what is that place? The Savage Land?
It is in the Savage Land.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we go to the Savage Land. If you're not familiar, the Savage Land is a pocket of, I don't know, life.
What, Sal? What is the Savage Land?
It's a place
pocket
you
of?
go in the Antarctic that has dinosaurs and vegetation and indigenous tribes of people,
It's like the Hollow Earth theory,
but not
but
hollow.
not Hollow Earth.
But just
Yeah,
on
it's
the
just
surface.
a pocket.
and
Yes.
It's just people didn't know about it for some
Yeah,
reason.
it's like any imperialist's map from the turn of the century. Where they're like, oh, we'll just go there. According to my map, there's nothing.
Unknown lands.
Unknown riches and civilizations.
There might be a sea monster along the way, according to my
according to
drawings on
every
this
map that goes
Yeah.
across the ocean.
Atlantis is somewhere over there.
Yep.
And also other untold wonders.
Yes. This story is ridiculous, and no one asked for it except for Walt Simonson and Mike Mignola, which actually makes for some of the best stories because they are doing it for no one
Oh,
except
yeah, they just get to
themselves.
like have fun.
They're like, how about this? And I'm like, I guess, yeah, hi, I paid $5, I'm ready? And they're like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm the guy you made the book for. Wrong!
We made it for us.
We made it for us, and you are lucky to come along. And I'm like, I guess? So,
Except
Strap
for
in.
Walt. Walt's like, I had to take a couple of horses out of there.
yeah, help out Mike.
Otherwise, we're going to be nonstop horses.
Well, thankfully, because we're in the Savage Land, horses are not indigenous to the area. And it's hard to get to,
The
so we can't
dinosaurs
bring
would
them.
eat them.
Right! Can you imagine the hapless explorer that's trying to introduce the equine into the Savage Land ecosystem and just hitting that roadblock of dinosaurs constantly and being like, you know, it might be easier to domesticate the dinosaurs and ride them. It's like, yeah,
Which
man,
they do.
You should, yeah. Well, the same
Maybe.
with tigers.
I don't know.
Kazar, I don't know if he rides Zabu. Zabu's more like a partner. That would demean him.
Is it like a saber-toothed tiger?
It is a saber-toothed tiger.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not a regular Bengal tiger or anything.
What if things devolve there? So like I bring a horse, but it's
And
no
then it
longer
becomes
a horse.
the pre-horse, whatever the hell that was. We go to the Savage Land. We meet the Fire Tribe. We're introduced to the Fire Tribe, and we meet them for the first time. And the tribe elder is telling this story and weaving this tale, and so maybe the story didn't happen, but it definitely happened. And it has far-reaching and heavy implications that have never been paid off yet. I say yet because there's always time for a retcon. But we meet the shaman.
That's been 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, they're making movies and stuff though, and people who read this 30 years ago were like, "Hey, remember that?" And then writing their own stories.
When you hear, you will be like, "Oh yes, oh yeah, they'll definitely do that someday."
Okay.
I can't believe it's taken this long, and we'll get into that also about why it hasn't come up and why it should, because
you haven't done a packages on it yet.
Well, that's very yeah.
Yeah,
The
there we
packages
go.
effect.
Exactly. We talk about it, something comes out.
And then suddenly some intrepid young writer's like, I got a great idea. And it's like, and then the...
I mean, to be fair, it's not our idea.
No,
we didn't
it's
create
true.
the story.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not like Marvel's going to call me and go like, you had a great idea. Do you have aspirations of writing? Would you like to write the
But a
story?
credit or a thank you would be nice.
I take a thank you. Hell, at this point, I'd take a tweet. So,
Is this set in the past?
well, no. It is set in the present of 1990.
Okay. Because the shaman is like, let me tell you a tale. So he's in the future.
He's in the future, but I think he's only like a year in the
Oh,
future.
okay.
Yeah, but I mean, a year in the Savage Land. Whew!
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, no. Wolverine really makes that year last. So, in the Savage Land, we have this elder. He's weaving the story about how this instrument from the gods fell to Earth, and they recovered it, and they placed it on their rock of worship, and then suddenly the gods delivered them one of their own. And it's just Wolverine in a lightweight aircraft. But for them, they're like, oh, it's a god, or it's a dinosaur that is here to mess with us. We call them honkers because presumably that's the sound they make, and we speak English, but whatever. So the tribes...
Those are just geese, man.
Right? They refer
They're angry.
Well, aren't geese just dinosaurs with some time? But yeah, they call them honkers. And they're like, oh, they sent a flying honker, the gods that is. But then they find out, no, it's actually a person in it. So it must be a god because any man that looks like us that's capable of
Taming the
adapting or
beasts.
taming honkers is elevated to god status. And so Wolverine arrives and he walks up to the rock and he sees that it's a lighter. And he goes, oh, I've been looking all over that. And he just takes it off the rock. The lighter is a Bic. But it's also a gift from Nick Fury to Wolverine. So it's Wolverine's personal lighter. But I'm like, a Bic? Nick Fury's too cheap for a Zippo?
He's like, you know how many of these things I got?
And how many I give out? It's
Yeah.
like he has a drum. He's like, oh, Logan, after this adventure, I wanted you to have my lighter.
But it says to Logan, so it is
He
personalized.
wrote it.
Right.
He wrote on it.
Yeah,
Right.
in a pen.
In a pen.
Which you would not be able to do on a Bic.
Absolutely not. Well, no, he's got one of them shield pens.
Yeah.
It writes on anything.
Well, it also writes upside down,
It's
like the
big.
astronauts.
I like to think that he has a bunch of them and they all have from Nick already printed on them.
He
And
just
he
writes
just
out.
writes, and it says to blank, and he just
exactly.
writes in the
Fills
name
it,
and gives
Spider-Man, Wolverine, Cap.
He wouldn't give it to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's too young.
In this period,
No, he's not.
he's definitely old enough to smoke.
He's
It's just that he
married and
wouldn't.
shit at this time.
Yeah, by 1990, he's been married for 3 years. But the point is made. So yeah, Wolverine's like, I got this. Thanks. And then he just lights up a cigar, and he's like, why don't you tell me how this came into your possession?
And they're all like, he touched the artifact.
Yeah,
He is a god.
right. Well, yeah, the artifact itself is godlike. He descended from the heavens like a god. He recognized it and took it, which means he must be a god.
Well,
I'm
then
sorry,
he created
are they-
magical fire.
Are
That's
they
right.
already the fire tribe at this
They
point?
are the fire tribe, and coincidentally, a lighter fell from the heavens,
and they
took
don't
it.
use it?
They don't know how. They don't know
I
what
don't
it
know
is.
what that is.
And
Yeah.
that's absolutely bizarre.
I agree.
Well, they don't
It's
really
a
have
thing
time.
that makes fire, and they're like, oh, we don't know what it is.
Well, they don't know that it makes fire. It's just a coincidence. And there are a lot of those in this book. So Wolverine lights up, and then their chieftain shows up. And their chieftain is dressed in elaborate garb, and the chieftain is like, I don't think you're a god. I'm going to challenge you.
Uh-oh.
And Wolverine's like, "Psh, okay. Well, this is a Wolverine book, so I have nothing but time on my hands, I guess. So let's fight. And so the chief just knocks the cigar out of Wolverine's mouth and draws blood. So he's like, okay, it's on. Here we go. And so they fight. And Wolverine defeats the chief, and now he's the chief of the tribe.
Of course.
So Wolverine immediately is like, I kind of saw that coming. Like,
Yep.
I kind of
I end up in charge wherever I go.
Yeah. Well, and I was worried that if I beat this ornately dressed person, I would end up being the leader of this tribe.
Right, but they punched
I'm
me.
not
What was I
gonna-
supposed to do?
But they punched me. What am I going to do? I'm Wolverine.
And he knocked a cigar out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ruined
You
it.
know how hard it is to get a cigar in the Savage Land?
It's true. Yeah, he has spares, which he offers later, but not right now. Those are spares. So they give Wolverine the chieftain's cave to stay in, and Wolverine like gets in the cave, and he's like, "Oh, as far as caves go, not bad."
Is he like, well, I was just gonna swing by and pick up my lighter, but now that I'm chieftain, I guess I'll like vacation here?
Yes.
Or was he like
Yes.
always gonna be here for a while? Like, what is he doing here?
Right, great question. He does have a flashback to explain why he's
Oh, okay.
here, but presumably his goal is to recover the lighter.
And now he's like,
now
let's
that
see
I'm-
where this goes.
Let's see where this goes. Which is like, what a frustrating point it must be for X-Men. Where you're at the mansion. Wolverine goes, I'm missing my lighter. I'll be right back. And you think he's going to the 7-Eleven and
Just get a replacement lighter.
grab a replacement. You don't know he's going to the Savage Land for a year. To rule a tribe or something. Then he comes back and he's got like war paint and he reeks and you're like, welcome home. 3 of us died.
When you said you were going out for your lighter,
I kind of thought you were going to go buy one. He's like, why would I? One was a gift from Nick Fury. I like that lighter.
is it like a lighter that just combusts, like
Yeah.
it'll never run out of fuel?
It's a special S.H.I.E.L.D. issue lighter. He will use it later to get himself out of a jam, but presumably it's just a Bic.
The fact that it's not a Zippo
I
is so
hate it.
disappointing.
I know. Because, like, even if it was a gift from Nick Fury, like, look, let's throw
Well,
away
it's a
all
lot
the...
easier to deal with. I don't have to replace anything. I just throw it away when I'm done.
Right, but, like,
Yeah, but then it's trash.
it's trash!
Yeah.
And if you lost
It's
it,
a lighter.
just get another one. Then.
then
Why are you
it-
going to the Savage Land?
Exactly. It's just a lighter.
It's not
I don't
worth-
care if it was from Nick
Yeah.
Fury. I dropped it in the Savage Land. It's gone.
It's not worth air travel to recover.
It's mine.
Right, but it's mine. It's
How
the
did he-
principle.
How did he even know it was in the Savage Land?
I assume we're
He
gonna find
followed
out.
his nose.
Yeah.
He
We're getting
knew
answers.
it was there.
Yeah.
But he also did smell it in the Savage Land. But he was heading there anyway. So,
Okay, so he wasn't going just for the lighter. He was going to the Savage Land, and then he's like, wait, I pick up a scent that I'm familiar with.
no. It's more like he gets mugged. He loses the lighter. He is attacked. The attacker smells like the Savage Land. He goes to the Savage Land. He flies over it. He smells his lighter. He lands.
Okay.
Okay.
So he is trying to solve a mystery, but for Wolverine, the mystery is who tried to kill me, which is like saying who delivered my mail this week. Like,
Right.
It's the guy who shows up every week.
If you do that, if you chase
You
down
chase that,
every
you're
lead,
going to be busy every week. Like, you're going to have 1,000 of these prestige-bound Wolverine adventures. The Jungle Adventure. You know?
Yep.
The Backyard Barbecue Adventure.
The Colonial Williamsburg Adventure. Like, there's going to
the
be a
Arctic
million of
Adventure.
these.
It happens right outside the Savage Land.
Exactly. But it could be at any point. So anyway, the chieftain meets Wolverine outside the mouth of the cave and asks Wolverine if the new chieftain has a name. He identifies himself as Logan, and the chieftain reveals that they are actually a buxom, sexy lady.
Nice.
Nice. And Wolverine's like, cool.
Did he kill the chieftain?
No,
he
he
just-
fought the
he
chieftain.
just punched her real
he
hard.
defeated her, and she's like, well, now, based on like Frazetta and Conan and Red Sonja rules, I have to have sex with you. And not that I have to, because I'm obviously bigger than you are. She even makes a comment about how the gods are so small nowadays. And Wolverine's like, whoa, okay.
That's not funny.
So Wolverine proceeds to make random off-color references to her, which she does not get, because she's from the Savage Land,
Right.
the Fire Tribe. And she's like, she admits as much. She's like, I don't really know what you're saying, but you have laughter in your voice, which means I guess you have like joviality in you. And then she kisses him, and she's like, okay, I didn't die, so you must be a man. You are not a god.
Oh.
And he's like, well, if you give me more of that love, and I'll feel more like a god than I ever have. But I am a man, but the
Okay.
baddest mother you're ever gonna meet. You know, it's like
She's like, okay,
again,
whatever.
she's like, I've never seen Evil Dead. I don't know what this posturing is all about. Like, you're not impressing me
Right.
with your ridiculous masculinity.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. It's not working. But that's actually probably to his benefit, because if we were relying on his words to woo a woman, it would never work. So Anyway, he proceeds to go, all right, well, strap in. I'll tell you how I got here, and you probably won't understand any of it. So he proceeds to tell a story about how recently he got an invitation to see a Broadway play. And he's like, I've got nothing else going on, apparently, so I guess I'll go to that.
From who?
Oh, he doesn't know.
Just showed up in his
anonymous
mailbox?
benefactor.
Yes, and he's like, why not? So he goes to the play.
That's
And then-
obviously a trap.
Naturally. And then after Act 1, he gets a message. And that message bids him meet behind the theater by one Jean Grey.
At the end of the show, right? I still get to finish the play.
No, it says urgently.
Urgently during the act break between 1 and 2. Wolverine does say the play wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So he's not missing much. Maybe whatever trap he is walking into will be more entertaining. Because, of course, the note doesn't smell anything like Jean Grey. It's not even her handwriting. Like, it's the most obvious, pathetic attempt to
Right.
get me to go. But they know me well because it's Jean Grey
does
asking
say
me to go.
Jean Grey, yeah.
So it's like you're making fun of me.
Yeah.
Hey, Wolverine, I need you to take out the garbage. Jean says it would really be a big help. And he's
Oh,
like-
okay.
That's
he's
your
like,
thing, right?
Right, because you love Jean.
yeah, 'cause
you
you're
do
like
anything
into
for
her.
Jean. You're a simp for Jean. And he's like, I don't know that she doesn't want me to do that.
So I guess.
It'll only work again for the 13th time. But you better present Jean at some point
Yeah.
with some kind of appreciation for all the chores I've been doing. So he goes in the back of the alley and he identifies himself as Wolverine. Somebody asks, and he's like, yeah. And they speak in a similar broken English to the Fire Tribe and attack him with what looks like a kind of like Iron Man repulsor hand blast. Wolverine's like, cool, here we go, pops the claws, and he proceeds to be blasted with a huge wave of fire or energy, but they're the Fire Tribe. It's, again, the theme or motif really is fire.
Okay.
So it can't be lasers, it has to be fire to fit the motif of the book.
Right.
But it's so much fire, and the Fire Tribe does not have magic or even mutant powers. The Fire Tribe worships fire, even though they can't get any from the Bic lighter, which of course is like 1 out of 3 people anyway. And they
thing
also
work?
don't have powers like conjuring fire. So this is new. Now it's very new to Wolverine
Right, but-
because he's never even met the Fire Tribe, but it's new to us too.
The guy speaks in like broken English like he's from a tribe.
Yes, and bearing the lead, he is from the Fire Tribe.
Okay.
But he's also capable of blasting Wolverine with crazy energy.
So he's a mutant, maybe?
He is not.
Oh.
You'll see who he is immediately. Wolverine
okay.
uses his claws, he busts open a piece of the ground, he shields himself from it, and then he realizes, like, okay, so it's starting to melt the concrete I'm protected by, I gotta end this quickly. So Wolverine pops his claws and cuts a piece of pavement and then like jabs it onto his claws and like whips it at the guy, and then that hits the thing that's blasting the energy or fire at him, and so it breaks it, overloads it, and then causes the assailant to burst into flames. Wolverine cuts a fire hydrant and goes, jump into it! And the guy's like, ah! And then Wolverine's like, that was a weird day I had today.
That is really weird. What the crap?
Yep. So
Who
then
is it?
he smells him, and he smells a bunch of things. He also inspects his body and realizes, like, he wasn't holding a weapon. The weapon was built into him. He was like a cyborg.
Okay.
All right.
So then he like grabs his still hot corpse, burning himself, but getting close enough to be able to use his larger than life mutant senses to figure out where he's from. And he gets like jungle and crazy animals. It's the Savage Land. This guy's in the Savage Land. That's where I gotta go.
Okay.
Oh, the guy who gave Wolverine the note from Jean Grey was this like weird looking faux British guy.
Okay.
And while he was getting the note from that guy, they pocketed his lighter.
Oh.
But Wolverine also, like, he falls for all of it. Like, the whole trap is successful. But Wolverine is aware it's a trap every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like he's a badass because he knew it was a trap. But you still did it all. Like,
You still
as
fell
far as,
into it.
As far as they're concerned, it
Right.
all went off
Everything
without a hitch.
worked exactly.
I mean,
as they
other than the
planned.
outcome.
Right.
I guess at the
And-
end,
Well,
he
except
was
they
prepped
definitely
for
wanted
it and-
Wolverine to survive. Like, they
Well,
expected him to
I was
survive.
gonna say, like, there's no way that you would just pickpocket that lighter off of him unless you thought he was still gonna be alive afterwards.
Right.
Otherwise, you just claim it from the corpse.
Yeah, well, or you didn't want the lighter to be destroyed in the ensuing wreckage. But still, No.
Is that one of Nick Fury's famous lighters?
I need
that he
that.
I gotta
gives?
get that
I need
before
that, and I need
he's
you
a
to
corpse.
die, because I also know that you won't let anything go, like lighters. So I gotta make sure you're dead, and I have that lighter. Anyway, so he proceeds to talk about how he takes a boat, and then from the boat he takes the lightweight aircraft, and then he eventually finds the Savage Land, and while he's flying over it, he smells the lighter, or he smells all the similar smells that he smelled from the corpse, which of course is his tribe, but also he smelled himself, and he's like, that's the lighter, so that's why he landed. And then the chieftain, or former chieftain, goes, you're right, I didn't understand any of that, let's have sex. So they do.
Nice.
So Wolverine,
I mean, she puts out the light,
we know what's going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada. Next morning, Wolverine
I
is like,
see he's standing on the higher part of the hill.
yeah,
Yes, so he looks taller.
Framing.
of course. So Wolverine's like, all right, well, cool. I guess I'll
stick
live here
around.
for a while. I got a girlfriend now. So
I have this tribe I have to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right. I am technically their leader now.
It's like being a teacher.
Oh, and yet I refuse to do that because also there's no guarantee of sex in that job
But at the same
because you're in
time,
civilization.
Charles is teaching all these mutants to be like peaceful. Yeah, they have to train their skills and they have to hone things.
Yeah.
But like, we're peacekeepers. I can train these people to be badasses.
That's right. That's right.
To hunt dinosaurs and shit.
And why not, right?
Yeah.
I have been looking for an excuse to hunt dinosaurs. So Wolverine.
They yell at me every time I go to the zoo.
Yeah. Where are the dinosaurs? Rah!
There are no dinosaurs here, and please stop killing our animals.
That's 3 pandas we've gone through. So
I just don't understand. They won't mate.
well, so you do know what they are. So Wolverine hunts a dinosaur too.
Ethan, which one is that
just-
one? The one with the flap on the back?
I mean, it looks like a Dimetrodon, but they wouldn't be up on their hind legs like that. So then you might say it's a Spinosaurus, but the head shape is all wrong.
I mean,
So it's not a real dinosaur.
No.
As far as
None
I
of them
know.
are, but also it's 1990. We're not even in the period of being inspired by Jurassic Park.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it looks
looks
as
like
good
a-
as anything in Calvin
like
and
a-
Hobbes
like a-
at that
yes.
point in time.
Right, because of course Bill Watterson also would adapt his designs of the dinosaurs because he found them originally rudimentary and crude.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, I know how to draw a dinosaur, and then
Right.
he's like, that's
and then he
not
started
right.
doing research on dinosaurs
Yeah.
and was like, I'm not even close.
Yeah, so
Little
it's
did
one of
he
those
realize.
crappy early Bill Watterson dinosaurs.
Yeah. But even still, it's a Mignola dinosaur, so it's kind of fun looking.
I mean, it looks cool.
yeah, and that's all that matters,
Yeah.
is that it looks cool.
It looks like it got ripped. It looks like it's like been
It's
lifting.
swole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Swolosaurus Rex. So Wolverine kills it with his bare hands. He doesn't even pop the claws. Just
Yeah,
like,
it
"Ah!"
just breaks its neck.
And he's just bathed in their blood, and they're like, dude, this guy is awesome. This is the best god ever. Thank the heavens they delivered him. And so as
Thank you for you.
Yeah, so inevitably because he kills the dinosaur with his bare hands, now the whole tribe is convinced that he is a god.
Now the whole tribe wants to have sex with him.
They do, and so they proceed to paint him in war paint. Like, they strip him down, and they have like a big ceremony where the entire tribe is convinced you're a god now. And so his girlfriend, I don't know what the hell to call it, concubine?
Former chieftain. Does she have a name?
She does. It's Gak.
Okay.
They all have guttural sounding names.
Cool.
Like Glunth.
Because they're stupid cavemen.
Yeah. Not so stupid that they don't have agency.
Right,
So it's
it's not-
okay to have sex with them.
It's not statutory rape.
What?
Here's the thing. The men look horrible.
Yes.
They're
Yep.
like bizarre Neolithic men.
Yes.
Yes.
But the women
But the women are hot.
are
They're
stacked.
hot.
Yes.
And they live with gross-looking men.
So
So, they're
it's
all
totally
into
fine to have sex with
Wolverine.
women.
Yeah, because even though they know no other civilizations, they do know a good deal when they see one. So, and I guess Wolverine is like kind of like the bridge between them. He is short and stocky, and he's
Right.
kind of like hairy like them.
Interesting.
If Captain
Yeah.
America landed, they'd be like, "Ew, get away from me!
Yeah, you're too.
You look
weird.
insane. You're like all smooth.
You're too smooth.
You're too smooth.
He is too smooth.
And you have all this fair hair. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Your scary god
like an
eyes with
alien.
blue eyes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he throws his shield once. They're like, never
Okay.
mind.
They're like Haktua.
Yeah.
Hate myself for doing it.
It's not good.
It's going in though. Gotta cash in on
You're-
this
you're a
phenomenon.
bad person.
You know Haktua, right?
No.
Oh, you don't
I
know her?
discovered it 2 days ago.
Oh
Yeah.
man, poor Haktua. So they're painting Wolverine, and his girlfriend is kind of like facilitating the event, and she's explaining things to him. You know, she's like, not everybody was convinced you were a god, but you killed a dinosaur with your bare hands, so now they're all on board. And so then one of the other ladies comes up, and she's like, I'll apply the paint here next. And Gak goes like, oh, no you don't. Just punches her. Just takes her down. She's like, get your own.
Get your own god.
Yeah. And then they all just dance and sing and have an amazing
she is
time.
the former chieftain. She gets that right.
Oh, yeah.
She does. Oh, yeah. And everybody, like, when she ends up doing other things, Wolverine, like, gives other characters the side eye, you know, like Glomph or Herc, and asks them, like, what's up with... And he's like, listen, she does what she wants.
Please tell me they name him Snicked.
They don't! No.
Ah, come on!
They call him the Logan.
They haven't even seen him snicked yet.
No, they haven't. Wolverine's having a badass time, just hanging out, fighting and banging, until a war party returns, a hunting party returns, and you know, appeals to Logan. You know, they're like, "Oh, my poor son, he's missing." You know, the one of the great honkers, the rogue honker, took my son. Wolverine's like, all right, first of all, you are way too close to the entrance of my cave, and if you don't want to see something, you better take 8 paces back, because there's no door on this cave. And as you can see, I'm not fighting, so...
Personal space.
There's only 2 things I'm doing in this tribe.
Oh my god, he's taking the biggest shit ever!
I don't do that in the cave. I do that over there.
I do that in your cave.
Right.
So I serve my dominance.
That's what you are. I call you shit. So anyway, they're begging for help because, like, there's this big monster that comes and takes their people, and you know, their son is missing. Or
Yeah, big honker.
their son was killed by a giant T-Rex.
It's like Beowulf.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah,
not
like, go slay the
pterodactyl.
beast.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
No, it's not a pterodactyl. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Okay.
Because it's like, wait a minute. I'm having Mike Mignola draw stuff. He better draw a goddamn Tyrannosaurus
At some
Rex.
point, there's going to be a T-Rex.
There better be.
Yeah.
It's Wolverine fighting
It
dinosaurs.
looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's just the way that Mignola plays with shadow and composition, and sometimes the rogue honker will show up. Like it will show up, it will attack us, and it will leave, and it'll leave for months. Like one time it was gone for a full year, but it always comes back, and it's silent, and it's scary, and it's unkillable.
Because it's real big.
Because it's really big. No, because like they've tried to kill it and they can't.
Right.
And so Chockle was the only one of the hunting party to stand his ground when the rogue honker came.
That was his first mistake.
Yeah, at first trouble he was gobbled up, just gone.
They're basically blaming him.
Well, yeah, because they're like,
saying,
well,
like,
you're
the
a god, you're
gods
supposed to
kill-
protect us. We
Right.
made you our chieftain, and like the thing we need protection from is still, oh yeah, you killed an herbivore, way to go.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is Chockle displeased me.
They refer to the T-Rex as a child of the gods.
Yes,
So
well, because it's unkillable.
Right. So they're like, this is your fault. Like, this is one of your things. Like, you need to...
You need to step up and tell
Yeah.
them not to do this anymore.
Right.
So anyway, Wolverine displeases them, and so one of Chockle's parents basically is like, "You're no god!" Like immediately, this tribe is so quick to be like, "You're a god! You're not a god! You are! Okay, never mind." Like we just painted you like a few weeks ago,
Right.
or days or hours. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
what have you done for
That
me
was,
lately?
that was a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah. And
Well-
then one of us died, and
Right,
now I'm
and-
like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny
The
because
first bad thing happened, and I was like, oh, no,
yeah, because
wrong.
Gak, when she first introduced herself to Wolverine, she's like, the medicines were proving to fail, so they would have thrown me out anyway. Like, it's okay that you're in charge because they were going to.
I saw that one.
It was
Yeah.
the weather.
It's the whole.
Okay.
It's the whole power grid.
Yeah, great. So,
Right. So
Yeah.
they have a history of,
have a history of
turning
fickleness.
on their leaders.
immediately when
And
like the
thinking their
going gets
leaders
immediately
have
tough.
complete control over the entire environment.
Yep. But you also got. I mean, you got to give them credit. Like this person's child is dead.
Yeah, he's.
And so they're racked with guilt and sorrow.
Yeah,
So
before
anyway,
they had no one to blame but themselves.
That's
And
true.
now they have a god to
Yeah,
blame.
they have a god to blame. So they immediately run Wolverine through with a spear. Like they just
Huh.
blast the spear with the force of like a Mack truck because it's able to penetrate his entire abdomen through his back.
Wow.
And Wolverine just stands there with the spear in his stomach and goes, "You done?"
I mean,
like,
that's
"Oh!"
a great way to prove you're a
Oh
god.
my god! And he's like, "That's right." And on a different day, I'd have skinned you alive. Like, it would have been over for you. As it stands, like, get away from me. Like, don't ever touch me again. You know, he's not like benevolent. This isn't a Wolverine
Right.
who's like, they're simple creatures, and she was racked with guilt and pain. Like, I understand. No, they were like, you'd be horse meat right now.
I was just in a bad mood.
If I was only leading your tribe and not having sex all the time, you'd be dead. I'd be inside of you, and I'd be wearing you like a puppet.
And the guy even was like, "Oh, I was wrong. My life is forfeit." Like, he admits that he should be killed.
He's like, that's right.
"You're right. You should be killed."
What a leader.
But I'm feeling.
Thank goodness Wolverine
generous.
happened upon this poor tribe. So he's like, all right. So he talks to the old guy, like, you know, the records keeper. And he's like, all right, tell me more about the big honker. So he explains the story. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, let's predator this bitch up. So then he gets all the people he can. He gets all the men, women, and children you can. Bring them into the forest and get to work. And what do? They basically build like a tiger trap for Vietnam. Like, dig a big hole, put a bunch of chutes in there with spikes on them.
A hole big enough to trap a T-Rex?
Yep.
That's why he needs all of them to dig.
That's why everyone in the tribe's
Gotta
got to
be
dig.
30 feet deep. Enjoy the weeks it'll take you to dig that friggin' hole by hand.
I know. They probably have rudimentary tools.
Yeah, these.
Well, they have Wolverine as the claw.
Hand tools.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So, well, Wolverine maybe he'll introduce them to the wonders of the pickaxe and shovel. So, they do. You know, they dig the hole.
They have spears.
Yeah, right?
They have spears, yeah.
So just put a thing at the end of it.
Yeah, put a flat thing.
Yeah. So they dig the hole, they put the chutes in there,
Yeah.
and then Wolverine like waits for them, and they get the signal. And Wolverine remarks, like, it's so quiet. Like, the beast is coming, and the only way I know is because the birds.
Yeah, they've stopped.
No, the birds are chirping. Or,
Oh, they chirped.
Yeah, or something. He just says it. I know because of the birds. I'm like, all right, thanks. But it was already quiet. How could it be more quiet? Because, it doesn't matter. So he hears the birds, or the birds give it away. So then the big honker blasts in the jungle. He's like, ah! And he's like, oh shit! And I love it. It's like, you knew it was a freaking dinosaur. You knew it was a T-Rex.
Yeah, he's like, well,
And he said big honker.
they couldn't say it was a T-Rex,
Because they didn't know. So he had to
yeah.
like, use his imagination.
Yeah,
As we
it's
know,
like,
Wolverine
oh, crap, it's
is
a
hardly
T-Rex.
imaginative.
Yeah.
So Wolverine like lures the T-Rex towards the trap.
Man, just dive down its gullet and claw your way out.
Yeah. So Wolverine leads the T-Rex to the trap, and the T-Rex stops before the pit. And Wolverine's like, "What are you? Are you a mutant? Can you like? Do you have telepathy? How do you know not to do that?" And so it goes around it. And
Wow.
Gak is like, "All right, that didn't work, but we're still gonna protect our chief. Let's go." And then Wolverine's like, "No, get out of the way!" And he just throws himself at the T-Rex. Like, okay, we should have done this way. And he
Yep.
just flies at the T-Rex. T-Rex chomps down at Wolverine's hand. He's like, ah! And then he just goes, whoop, glunk, just swallows Wolverine whole. And everyone's
Yes.
like, well, he's dead. We lose. Oh, well, he wasn't a god after all. And Gak is like, just so upset. You know,
Yeah.
she's completely thrown.
Said her heart went with him.
Yeah.
She's in love with him.
She's in love with
That
him.
is going to end poorly for her.
Yes. Yes. Not as tragically as you'd think,
Okay.
but still poorly. Is obscurity worse than death? So she's sad. So then the T-Rex starts twitching and freaking out, and then it just falls to death. And then, of course, the tribe is probably convinced that, like, he found him indigestible, you know, like, oh, he ate a god, so it must have killed him. And then just Wolverine blasts out of its stomach, you know, covered in blood. And he's just like, must have been something he ate. And they're like, we don't get your references.
But hooray!
But hooray anyway. And he also demands they call him a new name. After the war paint and everything, he needed a new title, and it was the Wolverine. So now they call him the Wolverine.
Okay.
That's a lot of syllables for them. That's going to be hard.
I know.
So does this mean the son is actually alive? Because it
Yes.
was swallowed into the belly of a machine, not an animal.
Ah, yes, you've looked ahead.
Yes.
It is in fact a cyborg, which suggests to me that it was once a living T-Rex.
If it's a cyborg.
If it's a cyborg,
yes.
and they use it consistently. The guy who attacked Wolverine in the alley,
Right.
cyborg.
Was a
Yeah.
cyborg. Yep.
This T-Rex, cyborg, blood, but also a total machine. And what it does is it goes out into the jungle, it grabs a guy, it swallows them, and then brings them someplace.
The only way to get out is for me to poop you out.
Great. What a weird mechanism. Thanks, Arcade. Something Arcade would definitely do.
Yeah. Well, it's belittling.
Yeah, it's not Arcade. So Wolverine's like, okay, where do we have to go? And they're like, well, we daren't follow it, but one time we had a party that did, and the only one that survived from that party went insane after explaining that it came from the volcano. And so Wolverine's like, all right, I guess I'll go to the volcano. It shouldn't be any trouble getting to it if I use my flying device is gone. And then he immediately yells at Gak. He's like, what, you threw it in the fire? You didn't want me leaving, huh? She starts crying.
Oh no.
By the way,
Is she crying because he's correct? Or
You
because
assume so.
he is accusing her with no justification?
it's that one.
It's that one.
Oh no!
Yeah, of course you'd assume that she destroyed it because of how she reacts and because.
But
I would not assume.
God,
Well,
he's
you mean
allowed to
after
do what
that?
he wants.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and that's exactly
Yeah.
right. She respects him, or worships him, or fears him,
Or loves him.
I mean, definitely loves. Yes.
Interesting.
So
Oof. All right.
yeah, so she's like, screw you. Like I used to run this place. Like I don't need you, and just wanders off. And Wolverine wants to go after her, but the old sage is like, she does.
Don't
this.
bother.
Don't do it. She'll be back. So then Wolverine's like, all right, get me a couple of like your strongest warriors and follow me. And then so he goes to the fire mountain. More fire. It's a volcano.
Uh-huh.
And he gets to it and he's like, all right, you guys can leave. Like, get out of
You
here.
got me here safe. It's fine.
Yep.
Right.
So then he gets to the entrance to the cave and he's like, I'm dealing with cyborgs. This sounds like an X-Men problem, which means I should probably dress like one. So he puts on his Wolverine costume. Because also, you're reading a Wolverine book, and I'm like,
gotta look like Wolverine.
There better be a scene where it's like if I picked up a Spider-Man comic, and Spider-Man goes to the Savage Land as Peter Parker, and he didn't bring a Spider-Man costume, I'm gonna be pretty pissed. Okay,
I better see the red and blue.
Yeah, I love Peter Parker,
Right.
but that costume is why I'm here. It's like 2/3 of why I'm
Yeah,
here.
we got through half the book.
Yeah, but
and he
imagine
hasn't
if
put
you
it
like
on yet.
Yeah, but
made himself a Savage Land
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
suit.
costume.
I don't want that.
What?
I know it's gonna be made of leaves.
Or like furs.
Yeah, I don't need I mean,
Tattered
look,
cloth.
Yeah, tattered fur Spider-Man, like Savage Land Spider-Man would be kind of neat. I've seen Spider-Man in the Savage Land. He is not like that. He usually keeps the suit together. But I'll grant you that. But how
You know
do
what
you
it
get
is?
the big eyes?
It's Wolverine. He's like, look, if this is a X-Men problem, I better show up like I'm an X-Man.
In case any other them would show up.
No, because if I show up like I am now, they're gonna be like, oh my God, did you lead the tribe? You're not like having sex with them, are you?
What?
They're like children, man.
Why would you jump to that conclusion?
Well, okay, because I can see from the logs here, you definitely had sex with at least one of them multiple times, and
Right.
maybe you might know something about that. Inspector Apocalypse. So Wolverine goes into the volcano because also it's not really a volcano, it's a secret base. It's got like
Right.
mechanisms and stuff. He's like, oh, it's fake. So he goes in and so he's looking around. He smells like machines, oil, and death. And he's like, ugh. And then he immediately falls in an open hole. And he goes, oh, too late. Like he just falls in it. Like
What happened to your senses and shit?
I know. He just falls into it because he needs to fall into it because Apocalypse needs to say the most unapocalyptic line I've ever heard Apocalypse ever say in my life. Because Apocalypse, okay, most people's understanding of Apocalypse comes from two places. The time when he took over reality in Age of Apocalypse and the cartoon show. The cartoon show, one of his most immortal lines is when he is accused of being a mutant. And he says, I am as far beyond mutants as they are beyond you. So solid, so dope. Nothing like that in that awful movie with Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Again, another just a whiff. Missed
Right.
it. But Wolverine falls in a hole, and then he lands in a cage. And Apocalypse says, "Forgive me, but I always wanted to say this. Thanks for dropping in." And I'm like, okay, like, that sucks. But you do have a giant A on your belt buckle.
I mean,
Right, so you would say something like
Right,
that.
because it's
I mean,
still
you haven't,
early.
but you should based on how you
based
look.
on how you look like an idiot. I mean, like, you should be revered and people will think you look like a badass, but at this point, you're still a badass and there's actually no reason for you to do this.
maybe it's because he's just like,
just written
look,
out of
if this
character.
was anyone else,
Yeah.
I'd put on the grandiose thing.
Right, I'd do a
say
thing.
something
But
crazy.
it's Wolverine.
But I know you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe you fell in a hole.
You fell in a hole! You know what? You'll never tell anyone about this, so I can say, thanks for dropping in. Because you'll never tell anyone you fell in a hole.
And landed in a prison cell.
Cage.
There's a hole designed to drop people who broke into a cage.
Yes. What
The simplest
What
like
the hell?
booby trap imaginable.
Yeah.
Not only that, I evaded your trap with my dinosaur.
Yeah.
Even though you covered a pit.
Right.
I was able to tell.
It was an
Yeah.
open hole.
I didn't even put anything
It was
over
like
the hole.
I made that hole to make fun of you for your trap.
I'm like, well, he's not going to fall in the... Oh my God, he fell in the hole.
Oh my
It was
God.
actually a more elaborate trap where you were
I
supposed
had-
to jump over it and then land in the real trap and you didn't even get to
You
it.
just fell. You just walked right into it. You even said as you were falling into it.
Blast.
Wasn't paying attention.
I almost didn't even put a cage here. I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. Good
I'm
thing.
like, he's not gonna fall in that hole. You know what? Let me put a cage around it anyway.
Plug.
And you did.
What the hell? Thanks for dropping in.
You are slipping, man.
Yeah. So, anyway, Apocalypse reveals to Wolverine that, like, he was the British guy that gave Wolverine the note and
I
five-finger
took your
discounted
lighter.
the lighter. Yup, he took the lighter because I knew you'd go after it. And so I also sent the cyborg because,
Why?
because Apocalypse has been dicking around with these people in the Savage Land to make cyborgs.
By the way, I hope you enjoyed Gak. She's another one of mine.
Yeah,
She's
right.
not. She's not. But we're like
damn.
we're like 2 years away from that plot. I mean, like that's definitely something they would have done. I mean, they did that. They did that.
It's like, you think there's going to be Neanderthal men
Yeah.
and these smoking hot babes?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Well,
Clearly they're not the
made
same
them.
thing.
someone read way too many Robert E. Howard novels.
But no, that
Those
part's
are,
real.
those are mine.
Yeah. Those
You're
are
welcome.
mine.
How'd she do?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite models.
Did she hook toy?
I
Reveals, like,
love this. He just Wolverine drops in. All right, well, I'll just explain my entire scheme. I'll monologue all these friggin' words.
Yes.
All at once,
it's like,
unprompted.
I get it. You don't need to explain. You have a hollow dinosaur that gobbles up tribesmen, and I was attacked by a cyborg who was one of them. I know, I can put two and two
Yeah,
together.
you're building them.
Well, you did fall in the hole, though, so I may need to spell it out for you.
Right. Well,
Do you
also,
want to
like,
get the chalkboard?
You know what? This has been a long time coming.
you're building cyborgs, but like,
Why? They're assassin cyborgs. I'm going to use them to kill people that I want dead. And I'm also about, like, evolving people and stuff. And
Who
I
did
also...
you evolve?
Well, I evolved these tribesmen into cyborg
It's
assassins.
that's the next evolution of people is into cyborgs?
There's always going to be, like, you know, in between phases, and this cyborg phase is going to get us to the next level. Also, I'm going to make you into one Wolverine. Ho ho! How about that? And then you'll be the perfect assassin. And by the way, this is okay. So this is weird.
This is ludicrous.
It's ludicrous and stupid, and it's like you could tell that Simonson and Mignola were like, so the whole book's going to be about Wolverine killing dinosaurs and fucking babes, right?
Right.
And they were like, absolutely not.
Nope. You
He
gotta
has
get
to
a
fight
villain.
somebody.
He's got to fight a
Come on.
supervillain.
It could just be that.
Right? It could just be that.
Nope.
But like, what is he just going to keep fighting dinosaurs, and the dinosaur going to get bigger each time he fights them?
Right.
What is that?
Until he quits.
What,
He
what-
needs-
let's Planet Hulk. It's like, wait, that's a great idea. 20 years later, but still.
Right.
That's when there's like, look, we have to have him fight Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would he ever leave?
That's true. He needs to want to leave.
Oh, Apocalypse is here? Damn it!
Yeah. Now, Apocalypse is a pretty heavy hitter, but he's still a relatively new character. He's been around for a couple of years, like 4 or 5 years. And, you know, he is supposed to be scary and a powerhouse. And they have plans for Apocalypse and Wolverine. We talked a little bit about it because this comes out before Marvel Comics presents Weapon X. So we don't know the origin of Wolverine. We don't know how he gets adamantium skeleton. We don't know any of that.
Okay.
So there was in Weapon X this like narrator, this character that's working with Weapon X to make Wolverine into this instrument of death. And Claremont's like, yeah, his name's Apocalypse.
I mean, it makes sense.
Apocalypse makes Wolverine.
Huh.
Because it's all about evolving and manipulating mutants. And
Right,
he's a
right.
mastermind, and I want him to be really cool and badass and important. And how more important could somebody be than the guy who made Wolverine, right? And so this is sowing the seeds of Apocalypse's relevance to Wolverine's origin.
Okay.
Because we'll see later those breadcrumbs, which of course are completely abandoned by Jeff Lowe, by the way. That's
Sure.
just no, we're not going to do that.
No, I'm
Nah.
not using Apocalypse.
I've got an idea. How about I invent a character that's mine, that no one likes or wants to use, named Romulus, and he'll be the reason why Wolverine's like that. And it's like, how about no? I hated it so much I had to make an Austin Powers reference.
Perfect. Excellent use
Name
of
a more
that.
applicable use. So, Apocalypse is monologuing at Wolverine, ruining this book, and then Gak shows up and
does nothing of use.
And she didn't fall in the hole.
no, she
No.
climbed down. No, actually, she makes some noise. Apocalypse like rummages through the junk together. He's like, "Whoa, ooh, who are we looking for?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And it's so terrible because it's Apocalypse. He still looks
Right.
like Apocalypse.
He looks like Apocalypse, but he doesn't act in any way like Apocalypse.
he's-
It's like the author
Walt Simonson was like-
never read anything with Apocalypse in it. He
His
just knew what he
wife
looked like.
invented Apocalypse.
That's like if suddenly he heard a ding, he's like, "My muffins! Hang on, hold this conversation.
Yeah.
I'll be right back."
You know what he is? He's a Power Rangers villain. He's ridiculously ornate, really fun, cool, and then you bring him over to America and he's like, "Oh no!" Just all dignity and self-respect just whizzes down his leg.
Well, yeah, it's because we destroy it.
Yeah. Now that being said, they do act like that. Like even in the Japanese
Oh, they
version.
act like it.
They're not.
But like the dialogue is different.
Yeah. So Apocalypse is rummaging around trying to get to Gak. Gak just hits him in the head with a pipe, which does nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's Apocalypse. And it's like, but he was just acting like a asshole clown literally a panel ago. So he grabs Gak and he's like, "Oh, you like banging this one, ha ha ha." And so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna turn into a cyborg. How much fun will having sex with her be after that?" And so I'm gonna leave. And Wolverine's like, "Leave her alone, you jerk." And he's like, "No." And so Gak throws Wolverine the lighter, but over Apocalypse's head, so he didn't see it. And Wolverine is bound, by the way. Like he
Yeah.
falls in the hole, he gets in the cage, presumably between him
Somehow
falling
he
and
gets tied up.
he gets tied up with rope. It's like just make sentient robot tubes come out of the wall and wrap them up. No,
It's at least better.
it's like sheepshank knots are used on him. Like it's just ropes.
Wow.
So I guess Apocalypse tied him up and then said, "Okay, now that I've got you, thanks for dropping it." Like,
Yeah, that's what happens because, like, literally, you see him already tied up when
already
he says
tied up.
thanks for dropping in.
yeah,
Maybe it happens on the way down the chute, kind of like Batman and Robin changing their costumes.
yeah, exactly.
You fall through and you're already tied up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in the hog tie. Shoot.
must be
Apocalypse is way too busy to tie everybody up that falls down that hole.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think he'd use a cyborg or two. So Wolverine yells Gak to cover the sound of the lighter clattering on the ground. And then you're thinking, okay, the lighter must be really important. Maybe it'll be an explosive device or something like that. But Wolverine has fucking claws that come out of his hands.
Right.
Rope? He'll just cut it. Or himself or whatever. But no. Because his hands are here, you see. So he can only...
he can't.
He
yeah.
can't cut up here,
Right.
so he can only cut down there. So he cuts the bindings on his leg, and then he uses one foot to take his Wolverine costume boot off the other foot, and then puts the lighter between his toes, and then lights the lighter with his feet, and then proceeds to use the lighter to burn the rope around the top part of him.
Okay, so now I'm mad about the Bic.
Right.
Because you can't do that with a Bic.
No.
You have to hold the thing down for the fuel to come out.
Yes,
Correct.
That's right. That's right.
The only thing you
Damn
can do
it.
is you can modify the Bic, especially ones that have the little dial on the
Yeah.
bottom.
I mean, it is
So
a
that the
shield
flame would
issue
be
lighter,
higher.
so maybe it is
It
a
could
high
make the flame higher, and it is a high flame.
Yeah.
However, it would not be sustained because he's not continuously pressing down
No.
the fuel release.
No. Now, maybe it could be that Walt Simonson wrote lighter and assumed, like anyone, that Mignola would draw a Zippo.
Right.
And
'Cause they're
Mignola
cooler.
drew a Bic.
Right.
And Walt Simonson had too much respect for Mignola to go, "I need you to go back and redraw it. Please." It's just
Or this is a special
shield
lighter.
issue lighter.
Right.
that can stay lit
Yep.
when it needs you to.
Yes.
It looks like a Bic, but it's actually not at all a Bic.
No, it's actually the one Zippo that is designed to look like a Bic, but works like a Zippo.
Because they're like,
In fact, I
Zippos are
believe-
really hard to like, you gotta open the thing and
Exactly.
turn it upside down.
Yeah,
and
they
fill
look
it. Oh
cool,
my
but it's a
God.
hassle. No, in fact, I think that was actually the slogan. Looks like a Bic, works like a Zippo. So, Wolverine also appreciates the irony of using flame and working with the tribe of fire and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, don't.
I'm sorry, has he not
Fine.
had a hot meal this entire time? Is it just raw meat he's eating?
No. He's been using fire, but it's just like, but here I am. Also, I'm going to save the tribe of fire using flames.
fire. It's just
But I'm
fire keeps coming up.
You're not going to burn Apocalypse alive.
No, I'm gonna
with this
stab him.
lighter. No, I'm going to stab him with my adamantine claws. So he frees himself, and that's when you realize that Apocalypse didn't leave the room.
Oh, he just went over there to the other side of the room.
Look at it.
Yep.
Because Wolverine is freed. And he's like, ha ha!
I don't have time to put my boot back on.
No! I gotta
Actually had
save
both
my
shoes
lady.
off.
Oh, that's right, he did.
Yeah.
So now he's Wolverine with no shoes
With
on.
no shoes.
He's like, let's get to the main event. Literally says it. Then he turned the page and Apocalypse goes,
Oof.
oh.
Oh, you got out.
And I'm like, yeah, you just saw him do it. Like, can you imagine Apocalypse is like, okay, I'm gonna take your woman. He's like, Gak, no! And then he goes, hey. Apocalypse is like, what the hell's he doing in here? Oh my god, he's taking his shoes off.
He's getting comfy.
No,
he knows he's going to be a prisoner for a while.
Let's see where
he's
this
got a
goes.
Bic lighter. That's not gonna stay lit. Oh my god, it
Oh,
did.
wait.
Do you know how long it's going to take to burn through those ropes?
Yeah, right? It's like he says Apocalypse just sitting there, like for 10 minutes, like watching him
I
work.
can't believe he's still doing this.
And then he's like, yeah, okay, oh, okay. Time for the main event. I'm gonna have to stop you right there, Wolverine.
I saw you the whole time.
Gak is like, I will never have sex with you again. Just so terrible. It was like watching
Also,
you
you
sneeze
defiled
on
our
it
sacred object
Yeah.
with your gross feet.
with your gross, horrible man feet. Anyway, so then you're like, oh, so Apocalypse like laughs at Wolverine, and Wolverine's like, ho, well, I'm conveniently adjacent to a cyborg right here. What if I stabbed it with my claws? And Apocalypse is like, you piece of shit! It took like years to make those cyborgs. You just broke one. Oh, you what the fuck? And Wolverine's like, yeah, now I'm gonna do more with my adamantium claws, you see. And Apocalypse like just hurls himself at Wolverine. Just takes his bigness and throws it right in Wolverine's direction. And Wolverine's like, hup, and just stabs him in the neck.
Oh!
Boom.
Oh no, my
Six
weakness!
knives into Apocalypse's neck.
So he's dead, right?
Nope.
Oh.
Oh, so meanwhile, Wolverine's like, hey, Gak, get the kid who was eaten by the Tyrannosaurus Rex, who was half transformed into a cyborg, and get him out of here, because he's also the only one of the cyborgs who isn't dead. Let's not get into why. And so Gak has to get the guy and bring him back to the tribe, and otherwise it'll be for nothing.
Right.
So Wolverine fights Apocalypse, and it's just a really, by the way, dope fight. You know, like just watching Wolverine and Apocalypse like trade barbs, and seeing Wolverine just cutting into Apocalypse's blood shooting everywhere.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Right?
There's debris flying everywhere from
Yeah.
his suit getting
Right.
all cut up.
Until he realizes that it's not suit debris, that this is in fact a robot, and that's why Apocalypse is acting like an asshole clown
Oh, thank God.
because it's not really Apocalypse.
Okay.
Thank God.
That's better.
But then why is there blood?
That's a good question because it's a cyborg,
Right.
So he can
It's
perfect
cyborg
his own
Apocalypse?
self as a cyborg.
I guess. But like,
What was the thing before?
right?
Yo, who-
yeah.
Where did he clone himself? Is Mr. Sinister involved?
It doesn't. It never comes up. All we know is Apocalypse says basically like, "No, I can't be fake. My blood is red like yours. My blood," and like blood is blasting out of him, presumably. So
Right.
I guess it's somebody's blood. And so, but Wolverine gets to like dismantle him because like that also tests Apocalypse's metal. No pun intended. And so eventually Apocalypse is just a dead husk with a big old eyeball sitting amongst the debris, and Wolverine just hanging over him like a badass. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It's pretty awesome.
That is
I
pretty
guess.
awesome.
Wolverine fighting Apocalypse. Wolverine just picks Apocalypse apart. And then Apocalypse's hologram appears.
Great.
Real Apocalypse. And he's like, oh, Wolverine, you fought my robot. Before that happens, I should point out that Wolverine has like 2 seconds to look around. And he sees on Apocalypse's workbench, there is a skull. And that skull is made of adamantium. And Wolverine looks at it and goes, no, it can't be. And you're like, oh, Apocalypse is the creator of Wolverine. Nope, retcon.
Yeah, the A is for adamantium.
Right. Yeah, you thought, no, I didn't put an A. Apocalypse? How more self-aggrandizing could I possibly be?
That's ridiculous.
No, this stands for the element that I created and used to make Wolverine.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
I'm famous for adamantium.
yeah.
Wow. So that was supposed to be Wolverine's skull,
Or like a
precursor
proto-skull
to it,
or
another.
precursor, or-
Yeah, but
Yeah, it
then
was
they're
a
like,
test.
no, actually,
Yeah, actually, it's just nothing.
it's nothing. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about that one. Don't worry about that ever again.
We didn't actually do that, so don't worry.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Wolverine was convinced in that moment that
Yeah.
meant something for him,
And he never
but
brings
actually
it up.
doesn't.
He's never like, Apocalypse made me. It's just...
Right.
It's
Apocalypse was just like, no, I saw you, and I was like, I can do that.
I can make that too. Yeah.
Oh, adamantium? Sure, I have access to that.
I'll have one of my robots make it. 'Cause, this isn't Apocalypse's lair. This is Apocalypse's robot's lair.
Right.
So Apocalypse, anyway, he explains, like, yeah, I had a robot. I have robots do these kinds of things. It went rogue. It did this, that, and the other thing.
Sort of like a Doombot, but for Apocalypse.
Yes, and also you'll never do it again. So,
No, but I have them.
I have had them.
Yeah. It didn't. You know what? After Wolverine destroyed that one, I'm like, you know what? They're not very good.
That sucks. I hate that.
Yeah.
Plus, it gave this terrible line. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah. I couldn't get the AI right, so yeah, I just threw it in
So-
the garbage.
oh,
They were ruining my legacy.
Yeah, yeah. And so Apocalypse explains, like, I was the British guy, and Wolverine's like, yeah,
You already said that.
yeah. So,
Look at all this friggin' words.
I know, just for him to say that, yes, that was a robot. It's not really him. You would never beat me in a real fight. And so Wolverine asks, like, wait a minute, like, what? Like, so if you or your robot wanted to make me into a cyborg, to make me into a killer, like, what would have happened if the cyborg had killed me in the fight at the show? And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I would have just winged it, you know? Like, it's like, why did you steal my lighter to lure me if the cyborg was trying to kill me, and you want these cyborgs to be able to kill people like me? Like, it doesn't make any sense. The whole thing falls apart. The only thing that works or holds water is the jungle stuff. You know what? We might as well call this Wolverine: The Jungle Adventure.
So the Simonson's like critiquing his own stupid plot.
Yeah, and maybe it's because, you know, the editor was like, oh, you know,
Right.
get Apocalypse in there.
I like
Yeah.
Apocalypse's feed
just
cutting out at the
changed
end. He's probably just like, huh, that's... oh no, the signal!
going through a tunnel.
Oh, I'm breaking up! I can't hear you anymore! Oh,
Yeah.
no.
His excuse is that, oh, there's lots of mutants
Yeah.
that are powerful. I'll just use a different one.
Right. My
if you
plan
had
was
died.
you, but if you had died, I would have made, like,
Yeah, but
somebody else.
why would the cyborg try to kill me at all?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I used the cyborg to try and kill you so that you wouldn't be killed.
No, but the cyborg did try to kill me, though.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Right, but what if he was successful?
Well, clearly he wasn't, though.
No, but what if he was?
Anyway, moving on. I'm not listening.
Anyway, poison gas! Which is what he does.
Really?
Yeah, he releases poison gas.
Oh.
Because Wolverine's like, well, you did lead me to your lair and your secret cyborg program. I'm gonna destroy your lair. And he's like, no, you won't. Nuh-uh.
Not if you're
you better
choking
not.
on toxic gas.
Boop. And so then he leaves. And Wolverine's like, okay, well, time for me to make this lighter do something. So then he turns it and does some stuff, and now it's a bomb, and he just whips it at the wall or whatever, and then leaves.
Huh.
What?
So, you know, the lighter, it's also an explosive device. Because it's for shield and stuff. Or the toxic gas is so prevalent and flammable
It just needs...
that he needs to, like, break it so that there's an ongoing flame within it, and it triggers the gas, I think, because it's from... Like, otherwise, what's the point? Like, it's not like Nick Fury and Wolverine are best amigos. They, like, imply they are in this book, but not ever before. I mean,
Yeah.
they've worked together, certainly, but, like, why
Yeah, he
would it
doesn't-
mean that much to him?
He doesn't light it or anything. It looks like he puts it into a mode
Yes.
where it becomes a bomb.
Yeah, I think
I
it
thought he just
needs
cracked
to
it.
be. Yeah, I thought he's cracked it too, but like maybe cracking it is what makes it into a bomb because it is a
it's
bomb.
like a glow
though.
stick.
It's
Right.
got like it's got a thing at the bottom that he like pulls out.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a little trigger or lever or something
think
that
so.
it activates it.
There's a good amount of C4 in
Because
there.
otherwise,
He
what
doesn't
would be the
explain
point?
it.
What would be the point of making it a shield issue device that is hand selected by Nick Fury, unless it also turned into a fun explosive device?
Right.
Plus, there's a toothbrush in there.
Oh, that's almost a bathroom buddy.
Well, you know what the most deadliest thing out in the world is?
Gingivitis.
Gingivitis.
So Wolverine throws that and he leaves. And Gak and company, you know, like the hunting party that went with him, you know, they're all out there too, and they got the kid who's half cyborg now, and they're watching the volcano, and they're like, I wonder if, you know, our god, the Wolverine, made it out of there, and then the whole damn volcano explodes, and they're like, yay, it worked, except, oh, we're so sad because Wolverine's dead, and then
It's like at the end of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
When Return of the King, when they're
They're
all
all
like cheering,
cheering.
and then the mountain blows up, and they're like,
oh, right, our guys were in that now.
oh no.
Oh, that's sad. We should send some eagles, just to make sure.
Just be sure. Still
Just to confirm the kill.
Oh, and Apocalypse confirms that he's the one who took the flying device out of Wolverine's cave.
Oh, so it wasn't.
So it
Gak.
definitely was Wolverine being a dick to his girlfriend.
Right.
So then Wolverine uses that flying device to escape from the explosion.
Yeah.
He flies away, and the tribe are like, wait, is he coming home? And Gak goes, he's going home. Because she catches his eye, and he just kind of like makes a gesture at her.
Yeah,
like,
what is that gesture? He's like,
it's like, what is this? Like, that is this? Like, she can't fly. I don't know. It's a weird hand gesture. It's not like goodbye. It's not like see you later or like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well,
I'm a piece of shit. Right? Like that's.
yep.
Sorry, I am what I am.
I mean,
That's all it'll be.
It could be very symbolic, like, that's how he arrived, and now that he's in it again, that's how he'll leave.
Oh, I mean, that's
Right.
definitely what happens, but why did he do this?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
You
then-
could say goodbye.
Yeah. So
you
then-
piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's like, look,
Jesus.
you're not Jean Grey,
You're never gonna.
and I
be.
can't bring you home with me because you're gonna stay.
Yeah, and that's not
I
gonna
don't want
work.
that.
That's not gonna work. So then.
Look, we can have sex in the Savage Land.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing you back
You're my
to
Savage
civilization.
Land side piece.
Right. What happens there stays there because they don't have access to flying devices.
You knew what this was.
I feel like I didn't. I think I got it. The onus is on you.
I thought you were a god, so I did not know what this was.
Not fair.
Touche.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I am the asshole.
Right? So the storyteller is like, so he went off to live with the gods and, taught us some great stuff. And wait, is that a baby? Does Gak have a baby? Does Wolverine have a baby?
Oh my god.
What? Are you saying that Wolverine knocked up Gak and then he has a
messed
secret
up.
Savage Land baby and they've never brought up the baby again? The
Okay.
baby has never appeared? I was like, oh, that's gotta be Dokken. No!
Now I get it.
Yeah. It's like, what? And here's the fun part about the baby. The baby has a name. The baby is in an official Marvel handbook.
What? Oh, so they were gonna do something with it.
I
Maybe?
don't
Yeah, that's
know.
a thing.
The baby has a name. It's in like an official Marvel handbook from like 2004. It's named Arista. And so Wolverine has a baby named Arista, Mother Gak, in the Savage Land. And I'm like, wait, but
And
okay.
that's not X-23.
No, X-23 is a clone. So like, no. But like, yeah, so people have debated this before because they're like, wait, Arista doesn't count because because they've only appeared in this and acknowledged in a handbook. But
Right, that doesn't
handbooks
count.
handbooks do count.
Oh, they
Handbooks
do.
are canon.
Because they have to go through Marvel editorial, just like any other comic book. So if Marvel editorial greenlit that book, then that book acknowledges that Wolverine's child, Arista, exists and has never been used before.
All right, well,
Where's Wolverine's secret Savage Land baby?
And his
That's
baby
a-
mama.
that's a pretty big thing, though, to introduce, that Wolverine has, like, a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. They do that. Wolverine's
crazy.
secret love
Wolverine's
child.
a dad. He doesn't
Oh,
even
he's,
know.
He's a dad over. Like, he's got a couple
yeah.
of kids.
That
Yeah.
that hand is, I'm sorry I left you pregnant, because I totally know
Because
I
I-
can smell it.
My boys
Totally
can,
did.
My boys can swim. I know it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you smelled pregnant when I last saw you.
That's why I'm leaving.
I would have stayed.
I could have stuck around for a little while.
At least. But I was like, oh no. I gotta get out of
I
here
gotta
at
get the
least
hell
before
out.
the first trimester ends. When
Before you
people
start feeling
to
sick,
when
yeah.
people start to know.
Put it together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Because then, like, the tribe's gonna be like real mad at me if I try to leave. So I need
Yeah,
to just.
they're gonna know.
Yeah.
Well, because also I'm sleeping in a cave. It only has one exit and entrance. If I try to sneak out in the middle of the night, my
Someone will see
heightened
me.
sense, my wife will definitely.
Yep.
No, I'm leaving.
Wow.
And they know they're great. I mean, look, I broke the thing that was their greatest enemy, so they're good. Like
Yeah.
I did it. I saved them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
I
do
broke
owe me.
Apocalypse Robot.
Yeah, and that Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Rogue Honker.
Yes, the
But
Rogue
mostly
Robot Apocalypse.
Robot
Because it
Apocalypse.
wasn't gonna stop. Yeah.
Oh no, we killed the great Rogue Honker. But if Apocalypse is still there,
Well,
there's
it's
gonna be another one.
It's gonna be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is weird.
So weird. And that cover is so dope.
It is
Remember being
really
like,
dope.
Whoa! We got like Frazetta butts, Tyrannosaurus Rexes, and Apocalypse? Dope!
And all of those things are in the story.
Yep,
Yeah.
this book is not a lie.
This
He
cover-
goes on a jungle adventure.
He does go on a jungle adventure. There is a T-Rex. There is a hot babe.
There is apocalypse.
Does the Savage
Real
Land
apocalypse
be
doesn't
considered a jungle? Would you call it a jungle?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no. It's choked with foliage and wild animals. Okay, so like Sauron, a dinosaur man, not to be confused with Stegron, the dinosaur man, lives or has dealings in the Savage Land. So it's like, oh, just have him.
Yeah, it could have been a Sauron story.
It's Sauron, but like, and he looks great.
Yeah.
You know, he's a fun, cool
he's cool.
character.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Would have been fine. But I don't know. I mean, look, you're gonna sell books with Apocalypse on the cover.
You're gonna sell books with Wolverine on the cover.
Hell yeah. You
Yeah.
put both those on the cover? Now I'm like, whoa,
No, I have to read it.
I gotta read this. And I did, and I was like, look, I don't feel shortchanged.
No, there's cool fights and stuff.
Cool fights, the art is amazing. Mignola's really like just trying stuff, working hard.
But at the end of the day, this story doesn't make me feel better about Wolverine.
Oh no, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
no.
no, he's dead beat dead.
Yeah!
He knows. There's no way he doesn't know. If you ever bring Arista in, you can't have Wolverine go, well, this is the first time hearing this. Because of your heightened senses. Like, I'm 100% with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew, and he's like,
That's when he started blaming her. She's like, you took my plane, didn't you?
right, yeah, this is never gonna work.
You're being so
I'm going to be
hormonal.
irrational for no reason.
Yep,
So
I gotta
that you don't feel as bad when I leave
Right,
or something.
or something, or whatever. Except she was willing to die for you against Apocalypse.
Yeah.
You friggin' jackass. The best there is at what I do, and what I do is knock up babes and flat leave them.
Yeah. What I do is not get tied down.
Yes. But I do saddle the women I'm with either death or children.
Yep.
It's what I do. I am the best at it. If this is collected anywhere, it's in the comments down below, but check out this book. I guess it's, it is worth reading.
It's a good book.
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
fun.
It's
But
crazy.
yes, but why? Like, what's the point? Why did we go on this jungle adventure?
To sow the seeds of Wolverine being created by Apocalypse.
Yes. This
Oops.
book is, like, maybe it is actually Walt Simonson, like, he's like, yeah, I'm having fun, woohoo, but also I'm, like, cementing Apocalypse's relevance for Wheezy, who created him.
And I'm giving him a child.
And I gave Wolverine a child. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm
It's
setting up all kinds
all
of
of our
stuff.
legacies, yeah.
All right, everybody. You're
Now,
welcome.
Here's the ball, run with it.
And everyone's like,
what do I do with this?
No.
Yeah, never.
No, I'm not doing that.
That ages Wolverine. He's 200 years old. How much more aged does he need to be? But yeah. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week with another episode. Check it out. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes our heroes are flawed people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. So flawed you might not call them a hero at all, really.
That's more like a Magneto kind of thing to do.
It does.
I think instead of calling you a hero, I'd call you an animal.
Or an anti-hero.
Certainly,
It's
man.
kind of anti-heroic
Yeah.
in that he saves the day, but is kind of gross about it.
Yes. I do. I love the idea of Wolverine being like, well, when in Rome.
When in Rome.
Like, I was here to solve a mystery. Mystery solved. I guess I'll
Look.
kill dinosaurs now.
I didn't lie to anybody.
No.
I
Yeah.
did allow people to draw conclusions that were incorrect and did help
Just
me.
because they were contextless about
Yeah.
what I was telling them.
Yeah, and Gok found out he was not a god before she slept with him.
Yes. She willingly slept with him, knowing that he was
but a man.
But a man.
And he
I mean,
had just arrived that day.
She said
Yes.
that, but then again, like, he gets stabbed by a spear and he
Yes.
like pulls it out with no problem.
And he doesn't say, okay, so there's these things called mutants, and I have a power.
Yeah.
It may seem godlike.
But that was after.
That was, yes.
That was after they were
Well, that was
already
after
a
the
thing.
first time.
Yes.
But it was like a couple dozen times.
Yes. Gak is like I think she's pretty much the only one who doesn't have a top among
Oh,
the women.
yeah.
The other ones have like bikini tops, and then she doesn't until the end when she needs to be doing more stuff, and then she does.
Well, then it's harder to obscure her nipples with shadow.
right.
Then
It's
that,
like-
that just shows her fertility.
Right.
And then once
yeah.
she's with child, she covers them up.
Oh, that's a good point.
No,
That's an upsetting point.
that other woman who was also going to paint Wolverine doesn't have a top.
Yeah, she doesn't
That's
have
right,
top in
all
that
the
shot,
women
but
don't wear
everywhere else, that's the only one I saw.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, all the other women have tops on.
That's fair.
Weird.
Oh,
That just means she was also, you know.
She was DTF.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was about to paint him.
Yeah. You know what Apog was doing.
Yeah.
Weird.
See, she covers herself when fighting Apocalypse. He doesn't
Yeah.
get to see the goods.
No.
No.
I mean, he says he was monitoring the whole time, so
Yeah,
he
he
definitely
did.
saw.
Yeah.
And flagrante.